Okay, hello there, this is TP8017 and today just going to be looking at a few more games that have come out last month, July 2024. So a little bit delayed this time, being a bit under the weather for the past few days, but we've had quite a solid little selection, so let's have a bit of a look-see. So first up we have Resident Evil 7, Biohazard by Capcom. Now, this one's a bit of an older one, but it recently had the Mac release in early June. Very solid release. Came out for Mac and iOS, and I've been streaming it myself. Very solid title. It looks very nice. So let's go have a look.
Welcome to the family, son.
Yes, a bit of a shorter trailer, that one, but yeah, so we've actually got 4 Resident Evil titles on the Mac now. Well, 3. We've got a 4th one coming up later this year. So at the moment, it's currently available for Windows and Mac, the PS4 and PS5, Xbox One and Xbox X and S, and Switch and iOS. The Switch version is the cloud version though. And it's base price $19.99 US. Once again, it's a bit older, but it's still a solid little title, and worth playing if you haven't already, if you like survival horror. System requirements: Windows 10 64-bit with either a Intel Core i5 4460 at 2.7 GHz. That's been a bit of an older processor by now, or an AMD FX 6300. So it's about 10 years or so, I believe. 8 GB of RAM. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960 or AMD Radeon RX 460. Again, they're a bit older nowadays. Say probably about 8 years old, something like that. And 24 GB of free space. So you should be able to get away with. Honestly, if your system's around 2017, a little bit newer, then you should be able to run it without any major dramas. Mac side, Mac M1 and Mac OS 13 Ventura. 8 gigs of RAM, which base RAM, and 33.4 gigs of free space. Yeah, so it's a little bit larger on the Mac side, but still worth playing. Okay, next up is Hamster Playground by Mass Creation. So this one's come out just after just under 2 years in early access. Free-to-play minigame collection with online and with local and online multiplayer, as well as a variety of collectible items and a hamster house to furnish and expand. So yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a free-to-play title, but it's been doing fairly well on Steam. So let's have a look. that's the early access trailer for it. They did have a launch trailer for it, but it's a bit of a music video, and yeah. So that one's available on quite a few little platforms: Windows, Mac, Linux, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox X and S, and the Switch, and it's free. System requirements. They're pretty low actually. I mean, apart from the space. So Windows 7 or later, or Ubuntu 12.04, Intel i3 2100 or AMD FX 4100. They're quite old at this point, be about 12 years or so, I'd say. 2 gigs of RAM, NVIDIA GeForce GT 720 or AMD HD 5450 or Intel HD graphics 5000, and 4 gigs of free space. So yeah, I'd say a 12-year-old system would be able to run it without any major dramas, and pretty similar on the Mac side. Mac OS 10.8 Mountain Lion. That's decent bit odd by now. Intel i3 2100, 2 gigs RAM, graphics cards basically the same as Windows side, and 4 gigs of free space. So I'd say maybe a slightly in your Mac, like 11 years as compared to the Windows side's 12, but honestly you shouldn't have any dramas running it. So next up, Illusion Carnival Chapter 1 by Kiz. Now this is a really very pretty little title, but it's also a bit odd. You explore a pop-up carnival. It's very pretty, but it's unsettling. There's puzzles and bullet hell elements to experience. It's worth keeping an eye on. There's been a few people covering it online. It's yeah, quite a bit different. I'm curious to see where it goes. So let's see. Yeah, so that one's available for free. Again, it's on a fair... What a mistake about the platform, so I don't think the platforms are quite right. I know it's available on Windows and Mac and Linux. Anyway, I'll bounce back sidewalk. So Windows 7, Intel i3 3240, 4 gigs RAM, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 560 Ti, and 5 gigabytes of free space. And the Mac side, Mac OS X 10.9 Mavericks, and with a Apple M1 or a Intel i3 3240, 4 gigabytes of 4 gigabytes of RAM, Intel HD graphics 4000, and 5 gigabytes of free space. So again, fairly old system, say 11 years old, should be able to run without any trouble. So let's move on. Arcanists by Per 3 Extreme. This is a remake of the original 2008 title by JX, the ones that are doing RuneScape. It's a multiplayer turn-based artillery game, think similar to Worms, but different. You've got a number of different spells to choose from. I believe it's over 100. To defeat up to 23 other opponents across 16 different maps, as well as being able to complete achievements and customise your own little character. Yes, it's an interesting little title. Okay, the trailer I've had to upscale from the original size, so hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, so that one might be the oldest one on our little list here. So Windows, Mac, Linux, free. Okay, system requirements: Windows 7, 10, or 11, 64-bit, or Ubuntu 16.04. Intel Core i5, 4GB of RAM. DirectX 10 or OpenGL 3.2 or Vulkan capable GPU, which is, I'd say, basically all of them at this point, and 4GB of free space. On the Mac side, macOS 10.15 Catalina with Intel or Apple CPU, 4GB of RAM, and 4GB of free space. Okay, next up, Echoes of the Plum Grove by Unround Games. This one originally came out in April 2024, so a couple of months ago, but received its Mac version in July. You wash up onto the shores of Honeywood, hopefully not the New Zealand one, and build and prepare your farm for winter, forge a community with the townsfolk living on the island, and explore the mysteries. It's kind of a 2D, 2.5D little title. It's gotten pretty good reviews, so let's have a look. There's a bit more to it than I thought, actually. Very interesting. Okay, there's our platforms, Windows and Mac, and $19.99 US. System requirements: Windows Vista or 7 or 8, 2 GHz CPU, 4 GB RAM, NVIDIA GeForce GT 1030. That's really low end, to put it mildly. I think quite a few of the integrated GPUs were betting it a few years ago, actually, so yeah. And 3 GB of free space. On the Mac side, macOS 12 Monterey, 2 GHz CPU, 4 GB RAM, and AMD Radeon Pro 555, and 3 GB of free space. So I'd say about probably a 5-year-old, 6-year-old Mac. And on the Windows side, it's one of those, if you're able to watch this video, you're able to play it. So, yeah. Alright, so The Operator by Bureau 81. As a new operator, you assist the FTI's field agents with piecing together clues and gathering information to help solve various crimes, analyse photos and videos, and find out where the evidence leads, without poking into any unauthorised areas that might upset the superiors, naturally, because we're good boys and girls. So, let's have a look. Yes, I've seen a few people covering this as well. So this one's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. $13.99 US. So system requirements: Windows 7 or Ubuntu 16.04, Intel Core i5 or equivalent, 4GB RAM, NVIDIA GeForce GT 970, and 3GB of free space. Again, I'd say about 10. I'll say about 9 years old. 9-year-old system should be able to do it. On the Mac side, Mac OS 10.13 or Ezra, Apple M1 CPU and GPU, 4GB RAM and 3GB free space. So, Apple M1 or higher will be able to run it. Okay, next up. Okay, 7 Days to Die by the Fun Pimps. Now this is probably one of the older ones on the list. It's left early access after just shy of 11 years. And that's pretty lucky you've heard of it at some point. It's the open world survival zombie shooter, base builder and crafter. There's vehicles, animals, quests, and of course multiplayer. Span on a fair few platforms, and yes, it's just had its full release after 11 years.
Howdy, survivor.
I get so scared on blood moons. I wish someone could stay the night.
Looks like a pretty good time, actually. So, Windows, Mac, and Linux, PS5, and Xbox X and S, $44.99 US. Now, it used to be available on the PS4 and Xbox One, but that was published by Telltale Publishing, who went defunct in 2017, 2018. So they haven't been updated since then. But because of the release, it might be a bit late. I'm not sure. If you buy it on PS5 or Xbox X or X and S, and you opened it on either the PS4 or the Xbox One, you should be able to get a 25% dollar discount. 25% discount. I'll work out what I'm saying alone. Okay, system requirements. Windows 10 or higher, or Ubuntu 16.04, 2.8 GHz quad-core CPU, 8 GB RAM, 2 GB dedicated graphics card, or equivalent, and 15 GB free space. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too bad to run. I mean, main problem might be the RAM, but yeah, it's a 8-year-old system, should be able to handle it without any major dramas. 7 on the Mac side, Mac OS 10.13 or Ezra, 2.8 GHz quad-core CPU, 8 GB RAM, 2 gigabyte dedicated graphics card, and 15 gigabytes of free space. But again, I'd say an M1 should be able to handle it without any dramas. Kingdom Rush 5 Alliance Tower Defense by Ironhide Game Studio. Now, this one's been going on for a fair while. I remember playing the original and Frontiers back on Congregate, which was a while ago. So, this is the latest entry. So, with it, the soldiers of Linaria, and the Dark Army must band together to defeat a new evil on a new continent. 15 different towers, 12 heroes, and over 30 different enemies to take on, and 3 bosses. So.
To nature.
Do not falter.
Bring it on.
Here we go.
Glory to the king!
Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, so that's available on Windows and Mac, and Android and iOS. $19.99 US. System requirements. Not too bad actually. Windows 10, 64-bit, dual-core CPU, 4GB RAM, OpenGL 3.0 supported GPU, and the GPU has to have 1GB RAM, which is probably all of them, I'd say, and 1GB free space. On the Mac side, pretty similar, 10.3 High Sierra. I think I meant to say 10.13, but anyway. Intel Core M or an Apple M1 processor, 4GB RAM, OpenGL 3.0 with 1GB for the GPU and 1GB free space. So you shouldn't have any trouble running it. Frontier Hunter, Urza's Wheel of Fortune by Ice Citruna. This one's released after 1.5 little bit years in early access. Very pretty little Metroidvania style game. 3 playable characters and very solid combat. Well recommended for fans of the genre. I've seen a fair few content creators covering it. It's a very pretty little game. And she's a bit of a streamer as well, actually. So let's have a look.
この石棺、他のものよりも随分と大きいわね。はっ、切り裂け。た、切り裂け。くらえ。チェン。た、切り裂け。せい。くらえ。せい。任務遂行。逃げられやしないですわ。ああ。できた。あ。
Yeah, so it's done quite well for itself. It's available for Windows and Mac and the PS5. It's $24.99 US. System requirements: Windows 7, 8 to 10 or 11, 64-bit. Intel Core i3 2.7 GHz processor, 4 gigs of RAM. NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 or an AMD Radeon R9 270X and 10 GB storage space. It's not too bad to run. I'd say probably a 7-year-old system, 8-year-old system. It should be able to run it. On that side, just Apple Silicon, so M1 Mac or later. Yes, Frontier Hunter, that one's doing quite well. Director Simulator by Golden Age. This is a bit of dating sim, full motion video interaction game. It's got a number of mini games and about 10 hours of gameplay. Now, the reviews mention a very good story with quite a few plot twists. But there's some issues with the English translation. It's originally a Chinese game. So, yes, there's been a few of these coming out of China recently. Yeah, not quite sure. Not quite sure why, but it's interesting nonetheless.
这是你的故事，自己想啊。陆羽，昨天你可真棒。怎么，同居的开心吗？
我好想一直和你这样走下去，走到尽头。
没事吧？
嗷！
你愿意嫁给我吗？
就送给你吧。你知道吗？无论你说什么、做什么，我都会无条件的信任你。
我们分手吧。
谢谢你一直迁就我的不成熟，我爱你。
我们永远不会对这个世界低头，我会永远守护着你。 我该选谁当女主角呢？
Yeah, so that one's for Windows and Mac, $12.99 US. Windows 10 64-bit, Intel Core i3 processor, 4 GB RAM, discrete or dedicated graphics card, and 24 GB of free space. No, it's because of all the video. On the Mac side, Mac OS 11 Big Sur, Intel Core i3 processor, 4 GB RAM. A discrete graphics card or an Apple M1, and again 25 GB of free space. Mini Airways by CCC Games. So they released the Prologue earlier this year, which did very well for itself. So that one's now been retired because the full version has come out. It's got a number of different cities, including Tokyo and London, plus over 15 others. And there's events such as the Miracle on the Hudson and Air Force One coming into your area and disrupting other flights. And once again, try not to crash any planes, please. The airlines and people on the planes don't like that.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 09er. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 36, runway 2 tree, cleared to land. Runway tree 4 center, cleared for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff. Cleared to land. Vector to waypoint. Vector to destination. This is a Cactus 1539 hit birds. We lost trust in both engines. We're turning back towards LaGuardia. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 3. Runway 2 tree, cleared to land. Cleared to land. Runway 04. Traffic. Runway 18 right, cleared for takeoff. Flight restriction. Terrain, terrain.
Yes, it's really reminds me of, what was it, flight control, I believe it was, for iOS back in the day. Anyway, platforms, Windows to Mac Linux, and $9.99 on US. System requirements, Windows 10, 64-bit, or Ubuntu 18.04, 2 GHz CPU, 1 GB RAM, graphics card that's newer than 2012, which is probably quite a few at this point, and 2 GB free space. On the Mac side, again pretty similar, Mac OS 12 at Monterey, Intel or Apple CPU, 2 GB RAM, post 2012 GPU, and 1 GB free space. So it's basically, is your system newer than 12 years old? Now, honourable mentions. So we've got a few. Thought Experiment Simulator by Ho Ho Game Studio. It's a quirky little title, about 2 hours, with various philosophical puzzles such as the Ship of Theseus, the Trolley Problem, and Trade Against Cats. Hollow Survivors Prologue by Danny Deere. Battle through various creatures as you climb the tower to confront the evil cult that's turned you into a hollow. In this roguelike dungeon crawler, for release scheduled for 2025, sorry, next year. And Repair This. It originally came out in April, but had a Mac release in June. I'm a little bit late in covering it. Examine and repair customers' phones, and use any information you look for, good or bad. It's a bit of a satirical look at privacy. And that should do it for this month. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Yes, next time I'll do my best to be on time and get up about the 10th. Okay, thank you.